Hey, everybody, welcome back to Freeze Frame, the podcast where we stop and take a moment to discuss all the heavy news for movies, TV, and streaming. I'm one of your hosts, Ryder Maldonado, joined today by a very special guest, my bestest friend in life and future Disney Imagineer and forever Disneyland companion, Peyton Liebler, the one and only. Buddy, I want to thank you for hopping on. How you been? How are you doing?
Been great. I'm feeling way more hopeful than I have in the past year, despite all the crazy news going on. I think it's been good time to be a fan of pop culture. Which I think I'm really excited for in every scenario. People are like, it's like the Renaissance, post plague, everyone got really creative.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, with the whole pandemic, everyone's been like, all the news popping up, everyone's on their phones, so everyone's hearing about the news and everyone's excited about the news together, right? That's been the fun part. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for listening at home. If you're on audio platforms, feel free to give us a review and let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. It helps us out. We also have Discord if you guys want to hop in there and join our community, chat with us. That's how you stay up to date with us. We also have TikTok for all your quick updates. If you're 30 seconds or less, actually, we give you all the updates on all things like breaking news, so hop in there. And then, of course, we have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all the social medias you guys can think of. Hop in there, show some support, and help us out. But we love to talk to you guys. But without further ado, let's get into the news and talk about it. We got a lot of juicy headlines, and I'm excited to discuss it with you, Peyton. Starting off, we got some Disney news. This is some kind of big Disney news. I saw this headline about Disney's live-action Peter Pan and Wendy film. It said it's very influenced by the Lighthouse, says the director David Lowery, which I don't know if you've heard of Lighthouse. I haven't seen the Lighthouse, but I've heard of it, and that sounds like kind of wild. His original pitch to the studio was apparently The Revenant with flying kids, which sounds kind of ridiculous. And then the production designer, there's a quote, teases that Peter Pan and Wendy is the best Disney remake. And she said, all I can say is that it's going to be just the best Peter Pan movie you've ever seen. It really is the best Disney remake. I feel pretty confident. So pretty interesting. What's your take on like Disney live action films at this point and kind of reboots? I don't know, is it overdone?
I think one thing we've learned, and we've gotten a lot, I think, even in recent time, especially, and you think back to when they started was kind of post 2010 time-ish, around that era. I'd say it's incredibly, for me at least, it's incredibly like a total home run or kind of like meh in any scenario.
Yeah.
I think we've had some really, really good live action remakes that my judgment on any live action remake is the term of basically taking the story that we love and like kind of adding more context to it, if that makes any sense. One thing I think that's really interesting with Disney especially is that the entire live action library also encompasses a lot of additional stories that weren't necessarily told before, but are giving context back to like characters we love as well. So like obviously we saw they're doing a lot with villains. So we saw Maleficent, the sequel to Maleficent, and then Cruella, which personally I loved all three. Cruella was absolutely spectacular, and I'm glad it's getting greenlit for a sequel. And those talks are moving forward despite all the craziness that happened. I think depending also on a lot of this, I think everyone was really worried about what Peter Pan and Wendy was going to kind of take with that story, especially. I think we've also been seeing that there's been a lot of cultural awareness stuff going through with the original Peter Pan movie.
Oh, yeah.
But in a good way, I think we're going to see here is going to be a lot more of, Peter Pan in general is one of those movies that actually has had a lot of live action adaptation just in general of, we've had stories like Hook, the Peter Pan remake back, I think in like 2005. There's been a couple Peter Pan live actions out there, and I'm really excited. I think the casting from what they've shown so far looks incredible and is really gonna, and again, when you hear a comment like that from a production designer, I think that's the best judgment, because we saw what production design can do for a live action remake, like Beauty and the Beast. Literally that was all people were talking about, was how incredible the production design is and how detailed. So that's a big comment to make of it's the best. I think, especially this early on too. That's pretty cool though.
I think there was a photo release of Peter Pan, but it was like, oh, okay, cool, looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm sure once we get a trailer and we'll be able to feel the vibe of it and see how much of a Revenant it is, or how much of that vibe it is. But interesting for sure. But yeah, if you want to take this next one, move on.
Yeah, so next up in Marvel news, Anthony Mackie has finalized a deal to star in Captain America 4. It's being scripted by the Falcon and the Winter Soldier head writer and creator Malcolm Spellman, along with the series staff writer Dallin Musson. And this is not to be believed the top secret project that was tipped off by Justin Kroll that might bring Chris Evans back. And a director hasn't been set for Captain America 4 yet, but I'm really excited. What's your
Oh
take
yeah.
on it?
I'm excited for it. I'm glad that he gets a film, because I feel like the Disney Plus show definitely let him shine. But to have a film is like cool. It's huge. I think it's bigger and there's more acknowledgement even there to kind of solidify with everybody. Look, this is the new Cap. He even got his own film to set up a whole world for himself, which is great. And of course, the production behind it, Malcolm Spellman and everybody, it's like cool. It's solid. Show is solid. Just keep more of that. You know what I mean? It's just gonna keep had those vibes. And then this Chris Evans movie, I know people were talking about it, but I don't know too much about it, and I'm like, oh, what's that about? Do we need Chris Evans again? I don't know. Would you want to see Chris Evans again?
I think in terms of maybe like a cameo or something, I think personally speaking, I also believe that there were a lot of really interesting character development choices that were done in Endgame for Cap that some I liked, some I didn't. It's very interesting when you play around with time travel, what ends up happening, especially what ended up happening to Cap too. I think it was a very unexpected thing that, I mean, when everyone was suspecting what was going to happen in Endgame, we all knew one of the big three was going to go, and a lot of people were guessing Iron Man, and that I think was done very tastefully. I don't know. I think Chris Evans also has gone on record to say like he's very proud of the job he's done, and I would agree with that. I think he did a really good job, and I'm in the headspace too of everything that happened with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think was the perfect amount of like character development that was given to both Bucky and Sam, and I'm really excited, honestly, with the way that it kind of left things. It's the whole you obviously know the whole dyad of the MCU of being there's the cosmic side of things and then kind of the
ground level.
They call it the baseball cap and the sunglasses side of things.
Yeah. Perfect example.
Where everyone's on the run in the big action sequences. And I'm really excited because I think we're seeing some really creative things on that side of kind of obviously US Agent and
Thunderbolts maybe.
I don't know. I think there's going to be the other thing I'm actually really excited about with Captain America 4 is we're finally getting in a really good way like good transitional material for people that are quote unquote like taking on the mantle, if that makes any sense. I think we're starting to get that more so, especially with characters that are going to be really big points of representation in the future as well. I think it's one of those things of Cap is like here to stay, if that makes any sense. I personally am really excited. I think he's going to be amazing, and I think from what we've seen so far in Falcon and the Winter Soldier has been like the perfect tease to it all. It'll just be really interesting to see how like villains and stuff like that are set up, but everybody that's involved so far, I'm really excited because Falcon and the Winter Soldier had a really, really, really good take, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It definitely wasn't my like favorite out of the Marvel shows, but I honestly don't think there was any bad ones.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I was really happy with all of them.
It's hard to rank them because they kind of stand on their own in their own way, but
they're very
great
different.
takes. Absolutely, and we're looking forward to those Cat movies. I'm sure it's just going to be better and better for solo films. But moving on, we have some more kind of separate film spin-off. More news when it comes to Black Panther. Riri Williams is going to make her MCU debut as Ironheart in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, says Kevin Feige. He said that they're starting shooting, I think, this week before her Ironheart series. So apparently leaked photos. She's already been seen on set for Black Panther. Maybe a little cameo, just a little thing to kind of set her up. And then we have Eternals has a new trailer. Spider-Man's talking about a trailer. We can kind of talk about, as of now, shooting this podcast right now, Spider-Man trailer has leaked. I'm telling you guys, but wait. I'm telling everybody to wait. Because if we could, at this point, Sony's probably going to release a new trailer tomorrow or a day after tomorrow, because it's already leaked. But yes, it is real. I don't care about spoilers. I'm going to say I did watch just a little bit of it because I was like, is this real or not? I got to check. It was, in fact, real. It was 100%. It just the CGI wasn't finished and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to react to it because it's so huge. But Eternals dropped the trailer, and that one was phenomenal. Did you see the magazine covers as well as the trailer? What did you think about all that stuff. Looks kind of interesting.
I'm one of those. I feel like, I mean, I know you're excited too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're one of those few people that's really excited for this movie. Like I remember when we went to the D23 Walt Disney Studios presentation where they had all of the cast on stage with the first look at the costumes. This one thing that he talked about during that presentation is this is like a completely different side of the MCU coin.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, kind of on that cosmic side of things, but I also think we're really going to get to see the scale of what this is going to add scale to the multiverse, as well as kind of how interdimensional interactions kind of work on everything. I think we've seen some, but some of them have either been likened to a really kind of smaller, more like tricked villain, I guess, if that makes any sense. So like Doctor Strange, Dormammu was kind of that. And then Ego and Guardians 2 was sort of another little taste of it. And Ego, I think, was definitely like a really good look. And I think personally, I mean, costumes for one, amazing, very unique to what we've seen in the MCU so far. And I'm just excited to see the cosplays alone, because it's gonna be so many people that can cosplay.
Oh yeah.
Like you guys have obviously seen how many Eternals there are in the movie. The other thing I'm excited about, more on the side of theme parks and stuff, is obviously with Avengers Campus, they've already started casting for their in-park Eternals.
No way.
That'll be really cool. I'd love to see those interactions with people because again, they're very new. They're just like, again, we know nothing about them. It's kind of cool. I think even I'm comparing it to kind of like with the Guardians standard of when Guardians was coming out, there were definitely little bits and pieces that hinted towards, portions of the bigger picture, and it definitely set up a lot more. But I'm excited. I love Chloë Zhao. She's amazing. I think in terms of visuals, this is going to be one of the best MCU movies we're going to get. And I'm really excited just to see, in the grand scheme of things, where they're all going to fit, because one thing that I think is really cool is they've existed for thousands upon thousands of years, and they're going to come to a conflict that's going to insert them into a however long year period into phase 4 and phase 5 and onward. I think there's going to be some very big incidents that occur even past the multiverse breaking apart, that it's going to be extremely interesting, especially considering what we saw in the trailer of why they didn't want to interact with Thanos, which also
all that stuff,
depending on what obviously too, in the comics, like Thanos is technically has a deviant gene. He's not a deviant fully, but it's interesting that I'm curious to see what that's going to be likened to in the MCU term of things, because I mean, technically, if he was a deviant, they could have helped, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to do that.
True.
I'm really excited though. I think there's going to be the costumes. God, I'm so glad he brought that up. Looks so cool. I'm really excited.
Lots of good stuff. Juicy Marvel stuff. Like, that's what's going to be fun about it. Diving into it and expanding this universe just nonstop. Even with Shang-Chi, like Shang-Chi did that. And we're just looking forward to Spider-Man and seeing that. But okay. And now, speaking of the future of the MCU, if you want to take this next one about Feige, Avengers.
Yeah. So I actually saw this interview too, so I'm really excited. So Kevin Feige did an interview with Collider, and one of the questions that was asked was, when will Avengers 5 be happening? Kevin Feige kind of went into, you need a little bit of time to like marinate before you start bringing everybody together in the big MCU scheme of things. And he said, I think we want there to be a reasonable amount of time from the end game to start a new saga, but it's already underway and it's already started. And then you need some time, as you did in phase 1, to build that saga before you start bringing everyone else together. So it was a perfect Kevin Feige answer of saying everything while saying just enough, It was cool.
Absolutely. And based on the slate that they've shown up to Fantastic Four, it seems like we're not going to get an Avengers film till probably phase 5, if anything. Probably, 4 or 5 years from now, at least, considering what they want to set up with maybe, X-Men or Secret Wars or Thunderbolts, Young Avengers. There's so many big projects that are setting up that could have miniature plots. And then we have a big Avengers, maybe to fight Kang, or maybe to, set up some other villain. Like, there's so much time. And it's gonna be a while, I feel like, till we see this. So definitely, hold you off with movies like Spider-Man or Thor that are kind of like team up films, stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, we're coming back to Chloë Zhao. Oh yes, you talked about the costumes, and yeah, she talked about this was a great moment. She recalls the moment that they were shooting the Eternals when they're all on that cliffside, the big trailer moment where the team is together. And she said we played really loud operatic music on the speaker, just blasting that through the wind, which I think is just like great, and it helps character development if you're that like in character. You just hear the music as you're standing there. It's a great photo, and it's a great scene. So I'm glad that happened and that existed. Okay, yeah, if you want to take this next one now.
Yeah, so the director search for Loki season 2 will begin shortly, promises Kevin Feige. And as for when they start filming, he's not sure yet on how that fits into the schedule between 2022 and 2023, which kind of makes me a little bit sad. And I don't want this. Everyone online is saying this is going to become the new Stranger Things season 4, and I really hope that's not true. I need more like now, and I'm sad because Mandalorian didn't really see. I mean, there was a time gap, but it wasn't a lot, and they're already done, wrapped with season 3 with Mando, and I don't know. I think I have a theory that they thought Loki was going to do well, but not be as big of a phenomenon as it was. I think they were like, oh yeah, it's going to get a season 2, but I don't think it was like top priority, and now it like really is. But
underballing.
Depending, I mean, obviously, how do you think? What do you think's gonna go down with kind of scheduling conflict and everything along those lines?
Yeah, it's tricky because you bring up Star Wars, and they're kind of like their big shows, Bad Batch and whatchamacallit, Mando, and then of course the Book of Boba Fett. Those are their big ones that they want all the viewers on it. So it's kind of like you gotta hold off time for those and all the Marvel shows. So it's kind of like what do we delay? What do we put? But then it's also like, what's priority within our timeline of our cinematic universe? So that's kind of the tricky part. So, I feel like Star Wars is going to take, this holiday season, we get Book of Boba Fett, and then who knows what happens next year with Mando. But yeah, I think Loki's going to take some time. We might take some time before we see season 2, but they've already said they're about to start. So who knows? Who knows at this point, right? Exciting for sure. But
I think one thing that I think will be easier for them is the way that they left Loki was really cool. It left them in the TVA, or at least a new version of the TVA, whatever we want to call it. So it obviously takes place outside the timeline. So I think in a good way, they can wait in terms of like not messing up the MCU if they need to. But I'm really excited. Either or, I think there was a perfect setup there at the end with a really cool big question. So I'm excited. It'll be really good.
Well, something else that I'm excited for, at least, Michael Keaton in the Mobius film and the whole Sony universe. Very confusing, and even Michael Keaton himself is confused. He says they talked him through the logic of the Marvel universe. And he says, I'm nodding like I know what the F they're talking about. They were looking at me and they just started laughing, which I think is perfect Michael Keaton. Because, you're describing, okay, so there's 2 universes. Sony owns both, but it's not really connected, but it is. And it's like, I guess. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't get it either. I still don't understand. You know what I mean? It's such a confusing topic. It's Sony and Spider-Man. It's sensitive. But I thought that was funny. But anyways, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
If you wanted to, now we can move on. That was all our Marvel news. We had a lot of Marvel news, but now we can finally move on to other studios, TV, streaming, Warner Brothers, all the interesting stuff. But Marvel's always huge, especially this week. It's been a huge week for Marvel. But yeah, now we can start us off on WB or Warner Brothers.
Yeah. So in terms of Warner Brothers, kind of some good news out. Dune's runtime is 2 hours and 35 minutes, reveals director Denis Villeneuve. There's no director's cut. The final version is really the one that ends up on the screen, which is kind of rare if you guys know Warner Brothers' track record. Dune's second half could realistically start filming in the fall of 2022. Villeneuve has estimated, and he's very optimistic that he'll get to make Dune's second half. Which is really good. Also very rare and kind of scary of whether or not they're going to get a part 2 in the Warner Brothers universe. The studios, he's gone online saying the studios would need a really bad outcome at the box office to not have a Dune part 2 because they really love the movie. So I'm really excited. What's your take on it?
I think, this film's setting up to be a huge epic, and I think the big headline for me was that it's the director's cut and it's his final version, because you would think people, I think Jason Momoa went online saying, I want to see like the 6-hour version of that. I'm like, 6-hour version? Like, so there's a whole director's cut? He's like, no, like, it's just 235. Like it's just a normal regular film. Like we're good, and I have it complete, which is like cool. His vision is done, which is all I could ask for Denis to have. Dune, Dune seems like such an epic. So, and I was so shocked by a second movie, and I was like, wow, already? So must be that good for WB to greenlight it. But that's all we got for Warner Brothers. Now moving on to like other studios. Wes Anderson is having a new film. Of course, he has The French Dispatch coming soon, and then another one that he's casting for. Scarlett Johansson and Margot Robbie and Tom Hanks join the cast, as well as Bryan Cranston, Jeffrey Wright, Hope Davis, Liev Schreiber. And yeah, it's a huge cast. And already the entitled feature is now shooting in Spain. But man, he has some two heavy hitters coming in the next couple of years with these two films. Like the casts look nuts. But Wes Anderson, I don't know. I wouldn't say he disappoints. He never disappoints. I've only seen a few of it. I haven't seen them all.
He's one of those that's very like polarizing for me of like I either love the movie or I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm really tired. But it's good in terms of visuals. I love that part of every single one of his movies. I think it's like literally like stepping into an art piece.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of those that I think he's one of the last true stylistic directors in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's like really made a name for himself through that. So I'm excited. As you said, cast is big heavy hitters and it's going to be really good, and the more that they add, the more I get. It was like the casting for Knives Out too. The more people they added, I was like, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, Knives Out 2 started like I think they started in Greece a while ago. We talked about it on the show a while back, but that one's looking to be exciting too. Didn't they wrap on? I don't think they wrapped, but I'm excited to see a trailer for that. It'll be fun.
It's going to be good. The shots from that looked really good. So I'm the world's biggest Catherine Hahn fan. So the fact that she's involved, I'm freaking in.
Nice.
Yeah. Next, Joaquin Phoenix. We got a first look at him and Mike Mills' Come On, Come On for the new A24 film. And the film's going to follow a kind-hearted documentary filmmaker taking care of his sister's troubled young son while trying to complete a project. And it's going to be screened at the New York Film Festival. And that sounds... Joaquin Phoenix, obviously really good, and this sounds like a good cry-worthy A24 movie.
Yeah. I saw the photo. It was a photo that they showed, and I was like, oh, already this looks interesting. It looks like real, like real and raw, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super gritty. Yeah.
And then another interesting headline about No Time to Die. Unfortunate news. I mean, I think it's unfortunate. Apparently, they're saying it will not be delayed again at this point because of how much money it's costing the studio. Millions of dollars to advertise this film. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I've seen this film forever. Like it's been years of seeing this trailer and seeing this movie, and it's like it's the same one that I'm just like, oh, I want to see the film already. And I feel like it's died. It's kind of like dipped off. I feel bad, but I don't know. I hope it does well at the box office. I really do.
The Daniel Craig like Bond cinematic universe I love, and I think is a really big point of like really good filmmaking and good storytelling. And I mean, I'm really sad. I remember when the trailer first came out, like you said, like almost over a year ago. I was really excited because the casting, adding it, Levana Lynch, like so good. I'm like so excited still.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of sad of just, you know, again, like they were, I gotta be honest, knowing what marketing budgets are, I'm shocked that they got this many. And I just, in a good way, I mean, I'll take what we can get, but I think at this point, everybody's just so far gone. And I'm hoping, based on everything that happened too, where people were theorizing that Venom and No Way Home were going to get pushed back again too. I think everybody's in the headspace where, you know, may happen, may not happen. Just prepare for the best, I guess, or worst. I'm really excited for this movie still. I've Skyfall is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I watch it like a comfort movie.
Yeah, it's great.
And I'm also hoping this film is gonna like we're starting to near the end of our Daniel Craig Bond experience.
Yeah,
sadly, but I'm hoping that that's gonna provide a little bit more intake to it, I guess.
No, I agree. Absolutely. It's interesting to say the least. All right, now moving on to our streaming news. We got Netflix, HBO Max, all the big ones, Disney Plus. If you want to take all the Netflix ones, this little grouping here, not too much Netflix news.
Yeah. Yes, of course. So The Witcher showrunner Lauren Schmidt Hissrich, she has signed a multi-year deal with Netflix to write and produce several new projects. So that's really exciting. I love The Witcher. And Never Have I Ever, one of my favorite shows, has been renewed for season 3 on Netflix as well.
Nice.
Really unique show if you guys haven't seen it yet. What's your take on it? Have you I know you've seen The Witcher. Have you seen Never Have I Ever too?
I have not seen Never Have I Ever. I always see it on the thing. I guess there's just not, you know, I'm always like hesitant to hop in it, but
Yeah.
I barely hop on Netflix.
It's very it's like super teeny bopper, but there's like a lot of heart to it too.
Yeah.
The writing team is also amazing. I think there's a lot of really intelligent, like like it's one of the rare instances where there's actually some good Gen Z representation in there. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad that it got renewed again, because Netflix also has a little bit of a rep when it comes to
renewing.
Something gets renewed. Some don't.
Yeah, I feel you 100%. Yeah. Okay, well, now on to HBO Max. We have all kinds of huge news for this, especially in the DC world. Westworld, starting off with Westworld, season 4 apparently is coming and will take the story to new worlds, teases the creator Lisa Joy. It says if she had to describe the new season in a single word, it would be inversion. And she just recently did Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman, and she talked about including one of her characters from Reminiscence. She said there will not be a crossover, but it will have definitely like a callback or a character. And for those of you that haven't seen Reminiscence, a lot of the same cast from Westworld is in Reminiscence, and so I got to see it early screening, and I thought that was a fun film. And I have not checked out Westworld season 3, but I am on season 2. I don't know if you've seen Westworld or heard about it, but
I love Westworld. As you mentioned, I want to work for theme parks and immersive development. So this is like the perfect exploration of that. It's a good show, and the new seasons have been very interesting in terms of like new story type things. So if it's going to be new worlds, that also makes me really curious about what that kind of looks like for the future of casting and everything too. There's going to be a lot of really new good cast, I feel like.
Maybe like Rebecca Ferguson, something like that. Who knows, right? That'd be crazy.
I love her so much. And like you said, with the crossover and Reminiscence of all the casting that was also Westworld wise, the Westworld casting is so good and has brought forth a lot of really cool stars that I don't think we would have like seen in a different light before. I'm glad for that. I'm really excited. I'm glad it's still happening too. Next up, really excited about this. Black Canary has a movie for Black Canary has reportedly been greenlit and is in development for HBO Max with Journey Smollett to star and Misha Green to write the script. I don't know about you, I really enjoyed Birds of Prey.
It was fun.
I think I'm part of a I don't even know what small little group, but I loved Birds of Prey. I watched that was part of the reasons why I got HBO Max was because that was going to be offered on there, and I think Dina was a really cool character, and I'm really excited we're going to get to see more of her, especially in terms of we got to see a little taste of her abilities at the end of Birds of Prey. So that's going to be good. Maybe Birds of Prey cinematic universe or Gotham City Sirens goes through. And
it would be so crazy.
I'm excited.
Absolutely.
What about you?
I enjoyed it. Anything Margot Robbie, I'm in. I think she does great as Harley, and it's one of those cast things that you just can't replace. She's already become the person and the character. And the cast of Birds of Prey, I really enjoyed the cast in the movie. I enjoy it. I thought it was all right. I have no hate for it, no distaste for it. I like Black Mask. Oh my gosh, Ewan McGregor. I can eat him up all day. No, but film was fun, and I'm definitely looking forward. I'm glad that they're adding, this character to have her own film, and then we even have Blue Beetle, which I forgot to put on the document, but Cobra Kai actor Zolo. So I'm butchering his name. He's a very difficult name. Mara Dueña. Of course, he's cast as Blue Beetle, so looking for him, and they're just gonna keep building off more and more HBO Max films, and then we even have the Batwoman. Which of course,
Leslie Grace.
So
that'll be really good.
Lots of fun stuff. Hopefully, they got to build the cinematic universe there. Hopefully, HBO Max.
They've tried in a battle. They haven't been successful thus far. I actually want to root for their success though, because I feel like it's really the whole thing of. I think it also will help keep Marvel on its toes. Not that Marvel's needs it's good sparring partner type thing.
Yeah, good point. I like that. It's great. Okay, moving on now to probably something my most anticipated show of all time. Pedro Pascal talking about Last of Us, right? He says that it's banked $600,000 per episodes, And season 1 has 10 episodes, so that's we'll add that up. What is that? $6 million? That's a lot of money. It's insane. But Last of Us, have you? I know you. I don't. Have you played the games? Or if you've heard of them, probably.
I haven't played it, but I've done the watch through, so not a ton of participation through it. But I mean, I think the story is so. I'm excited for the show. The fact that it I think it's going to open the door, especially for how successful it's going to be, or at least I'm anticipating. I think it's going to open the door for a lot more video game adaptations, especially through like TV, which I think is really cool. And I think Pedro Pascal was the casting for this show has been A1.
Oh, solid. Yeah.
10 out of 10. So good.
They're getting the voice act. Some of the original voice actors are coming back, and even if they're not playing their characters, they're still in the show. Reprise doing
they're
something
involved,
else.
Yeah.
So I'm like 100% with that. I'm glad Neil Druckmann is doing it too. And so many people are hyping up this show, because the budget's so huge and the production is so massive. But yeah, it's a very beloved franchise, and it's hard to, like The Last of Us 2, very controversial because I mean what they did in the story. Some people hated it, some people loved it. It's like no middle ground, right? So who knows what it'll be the show, but I think Pedro Pascal is a big seller for a lot of people, right? Yeah, and then last one here, we got Adventure Time is having a spinoff, which I'm not too familiar with Adventure. I mean, I know the cartoon, but I've never seen Adventure Time. I know it's bad, but Fiona and Cake spinoff. That's what's going to be called. The duo heads on a multiverse adventure with former Ice King Simon Petrikov. You know who that is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched Adventure Time. I'm not necessarily like the hugest fan. Like, not that I didn't like it. It's just kind of like an indifference at this point. I did love Ice King though. I think Ice King is one of the funniest characters in TV, and I'm glad that he's coming back for this. And in the same case too of seeing a show like that's been beloved by so many people over the years, actually kind of making a return. It's really cool. I think that's really nice.
Absolutely, yeah. The photo looked really cute. Like the photo that they released for, I was like, oh, that looks nice. All right, and now onto Disney Plus. Of course, big stuff. You can take this last big one. This is huge.
Yeah. So the Star Wars Visions trailer has come out, and it showcases the force of 9 original anime stories coming on September 22nd. I am so excited for this. I think literally it's like one of those things of why didn't we do this before?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So good. Casting looks impeccable. Animation looks impeccable. I think you obviously heard about how What If kind of sparked Marvel getting their own like animation studios now. I think I think Star Wars is actually like in the talks of that's gonna end up happening, of like it's gonna get a lot more. I think this is gonna be really cool, and we saw a lot of stuff in the trailer too, that I think hinted at a lot of different pieces of Star Wars times. But what did you think?
Absolutely. I think, any animation is great, and I think Star Wars is one of the best when it comes to animation with Clone Wars and Bad Batch, and such a huge fan base. And yes, like you said, Marvel. I want more animated Marvel. What If, and even more shows. I think it's just going to be better for your fan base, and just, expanding their paintbrush, if you will, right? And like this anime and Star Wars feels like a combination that, like you said, why hasn't it been done before? It feels like it's like bread and butter. You know what I mean? It seems like it works so well together. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'll check it out because it looks enticing, to say the least.
Very cool.
There you have it. So that's all our really main news of this past week. We've taken a little bit of a break, but lots of good stuff, lots of exciting stuff. And then we have one light news here. This is just a little headline. Fast and Furious 10 is already revving its engines for release on April 7th, 2023. And I see your face already. It's a huge franchise. Pretty funny, huh? I see you thinking about families.
I watch them so unironically. Like it's not even funny. And it was one of those things of like, we grew up with that, like where it was like it was one of the first movies I remember watching where it was like, oh, this is a big kid movie. And like now I am a actual adult where it's like, oh, these are happening in a good way. It's just we start literally, it's like 0 to 100. Like that's where we're at.
Yeah.
I'm excited though. And I think also isn't 10 gonna be like, it's like a 2-parter, right?
Yes.
Isn't that
I think the last 2 is like 10 and 11. Yeah. I know. I don't know how they can get crazier from space.
Interesting for sure. I think they've in the recent releases have had some interesting, like, it's either, again, very hit or miss for me. I either have loved them or like I actually really liked Fast 9. But Yeah, this will be good. I'm glad it's happening quicker than expected too.
True.
I feel like that was going to be kind of an interesting point of entry when it came to one of the first post-pandemic films to come out. It was very interesting. That could have ended Fast and Furious, but
True.
It's happening. Good for them.
And we might possibly get a spin-off. Han and Shaw, maybe. Han and Shaw.
I loved Hobbs and Shaw. I loved it so much. Again, unironically loved it. So
it's all fun.
If that happens, it's good. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get at this point.
100%. I'm right there with you. Yeah. Well, there you have it, guys. That's all the really big news. Stay tuned, because if anything Spider-Man drops, you bet we'll do a reaction and give you guys news on it. But yeah, moving on to our recommendations now. Let's see, Peyton, if you want to say your recommendations and for the audience, what you got?
Yeah, I think I have two. Okay. First one is The White Lotus. It's HBO, but it's also HBO on HBO Max, obviously. Okay. It's one of those shows that I think I've been hearing a lot of people either really love it or really don't. So totally at everybody's own pace, but I personally have loved it. Very unique and compelling characters that I think were built up in a lot of subtleties, which has been really cool of kind of get to see how that person in whatever scenario. I'm really excited just to see how it all kind of turned. It was this is really interesting about White Lotus is it was originally supposed to be a limited series, and HBO just renewed it for a second series, which was crazy. So, and which is cool. So if you watch the show, you'll understand how they're going to be able to do it, where it's almost like a anthology in whatever scenario. So I'm really excited about that. And then my second recommendation isn't necessarily, it's actually not out yet, but it's coming out soon within the next few weeks. And based on what we've seen from previous seasons, I'm very excited for this one. And that's American Crime Story. So this season is American Crime Story Impeachment, which is going to follow the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky scandal of the 90s. I am so excited. I think People versus O.J. Simpson. I feel like Versace was, so that's season 2. I think they're both on Netflix. I know O.J. is. Go and watch. So good. One of the good like Ryan Murphy universe shows. That's not super like absurdist. It's very, very, very calculated and extremely good acting. And obviously Ryan Murphy has his head of casting people. Starring in the show I'm so excited. It's Beanie Feldstein as Monica Lewinsky. Okay. I love her. Nice. So good. I'm just excited to see the like dark comedy in it all, because she's a comedic actress, and I think we've seen some really good like dramatic stuff from her too before. She also this is random. She also just got cast as the lead in the Broadway revival of Funny Girl. So good for her. She's living it up. And then Sarah Paulson is going to be the attorney, which if you looked at the special effects makeup on her, it looks so good. So that's coming out in September. Put it on your calendar. I have loved American Crime Story both seasons. So good. I watch them for fun and put other people onto them. So those are my two recommendations: The White Lotus on HBO and American Crime Story Impeachment coming out in September.
I like it. A little difference there. I did see the first episode of White Lotus. I haven't gotten to the rest because I just haven't had time, but I'm into it. Because I know it's like a mystery, and you find out like who dies, right? Like
very intriguing. It gives me like Murder on the Orient Express vibes, but like very much more modern time, like Knives Out sort of in a good way.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, for my recommendation, I think I recommended this before, but I really enjoy it. It's on Disney Plus, and that's Josh Peck's Turner and Hooch. I love Turner and Hooch. And listen, it's not cringy at all. Like I know I'm starting with that. It could imply it's cringy, no. But when you see this show, it's a fun adventure show of Turner, Josh Peck playing the main character as a cop, and him and his dog are going on little mysteries and solving cases, but they're homages to other films like Die Hard, Road to El Dorado, In the Line of Fire, and it's super silly and it's fun, but it's a good time. Great episodes, great cast, and it's just fun. I mean, I bet you've seen it too. You enjoy it, right?
Love it.
It's great.
It was one of the reboots I was really excited for, and it met every expectation. I've loved it.
Absolutely. I hope we get a season 2 because I feel like they're setting up a lot of stuff. I think most likely we will, but Yeah, there you have it, everybody. That's the whole show. That's everything we got for you. Peyton, I want to thank you so much for hopping on with me and chatting about the movie news. This was so fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a ton of fun.
That's great. I'm glad you did. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening on audio platforms, we want to thank you guys. Give us a review and let us know how we did. Let us know what we could do better for next time. Again, we have TikTok. If you want those quick updates, follow us on TikTok. All links will be down below. If you're on YouTube, hop in our Discord, connect with us, and check out all our other videos. We have some reactions up for Eternals. And stay tuned because Spider-Man No Way Home is coming in 2 days. Probably in a day, or it's probably already out as of uploading this. So just stay tuned on the channel, on all our social media. We're going to be blasting that and all the news. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week for more news and more guests. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.